Hello and welcome to the No One Asked You podcast. For this particular series, I am joined by my wonderful co-host, ThatDarnKItteh.
Dorkus and I are both going into the story completely new with almost no knowledge of the story or world. Each segment will cover what happens in each new chapter while discussing our experience along the way.
This is the Hero of Ages. It's all in the pages, a blind read-through. And today we are covering Chapter 5.
Chapter 5!
Excellent chapter. This is the chapter that I thought to myself, and now the story starts.
We're in it.
If that makes sense. Yeah, like we now get what this book will be about. It's about tracking down all of the hidden caches. Obviously, we knew it was going to be stopping the deepness, stopping ruin. But we've now got like a tangible goal in a way that we didn't have before. Yeah?
Yeah, we have goals, that we need to get to. And also, we have the characters thinking about other problems they need to solve.
Yes.
Like, they don't know how to defeat ruin, but they're sure as hell gonna try.
Yeah. And I didn't write notes this week, but there are so many little moments in this chapter that I really like. I sincerely hope I can remember each of them as we get to them.
Sure you will.
Yeah. But we basically get the aftermath of the battle, and we get some Lord Ruler lore, and, well, let's just get into it, shall we?
Yeah.
Each time Reshek tried to fix things, he made them worse. He had changed the world's plants to make them able to survive in the newly harsh environment, yet that change left the plants less nutritious to humankind. Indeed, the falling ash would make men sick, causing them to cough like those who spent too long mining beneath the earth. So Reshek changed humankind as well, altering them so that they could survive.
Sheesh. So humankind itself is different to other planets, essentially.
Yeah, so now I can imagine them traveling the Cosmere, able to inhabit worlds that are a bit more inhospitable than your average, whatever constitutes human. And
each time,
yeah, so two things. I like the science of it, but also I like this, okay, let's just move the earth here. Oh, shit. Ash mounts. No, oh, shoot. Okay, better lung capacity. Just this kind of like humorous train barreling down the tracks I thought was funny.
Yeah. But this idea of each time Reshek tried to fix things, so I'm like, is that each time when he's at the Well of Ascension that first time and he's busy fixing stuff in that one time, or did he every 1,000 years go and make a change?
How long was he thing? Was he Lord Ruler for 1,000 or 2,000?
Yeah, I think it was 1,000. So I don't know, like this each time. So I suppose like when does the time run out though? Like
it runs out pretty darn quickly, I think.
Yeah. So like just remake the world, oopsie poopsie, change this and that and whatever. And so yeah, this each time thing is like, is it within that one thing? And yeah, you're right. It wouldn't be several times that he went to the Well of Ascension.
Yeah, I think it was just the once.
Yeah, it was just the once, and each time, so each change he made. And I suppose you could, because it's magic, and time can be weird in that period.
Yeah.
And Vin gave it up pretty quickly, so we don't know what it's like when you actually use it.
Yeah. Elend knelt beside the fallen Inquisitor, trying to ignore the mess that was left of the thing's head. Vin approached, and he noted the wound on her forearm. As usual, she all but ignored the injury. The Kolos army stood quietly on the battlefield around them. Elend still wasn't comfortable with the idea of controlling the creatures. He felt tainted by mere association with them, yet it was the only way. So, tainted by the association. I can understand that.
Yeah, it's weird. You don't want to listen, okay, they're monsters, number one, but then also you just don't want to be controlling a whole being. It's icky.
Yeah.
Especially for someone like Elend. And yeah, yet it was the only way. This is quite a theme with Ellen. Is like, this is the only way I can do things. So yeah, it's uncomfortable. All of these things that I have to do are very uncomfortable, but it's the only way. I must do what needs doing.
Yeah.
Something's wrong, Ellen.
Vin said. He looked up from the body. What? You think there might be another one around? She shook her head.
Not that. That Inquisitor moved too quickly at the end. I've never seen a person, Alamancer or not, with that kind of speed.
He must have had Duralumin, Ellen said, looking down. Stupid Ellen! Look, okay, I say that in part because I enjoy saying that. You know that's not what Duralumin does. Okay, but he didn't fully see what happened. Okay.
Yeah.
And I will clarify, he has no reason to believe Ferrochemist. None whatsoever.
Yeah.
So, less than stupid Ellen, but good try, but no. He must have had Duralumin, Ellen said, looking down. For a time he and Vin had held an edge since they'd had access to an allomantic metal the Inquisitors hadn't known about. The evidence now indicated that edge was gone. So that's an interesting thing, though, building on what I said. Because you and I presume this to be ferrochemy. Does this mean the Inquisitors don't know about Duralumin? Well, no, that can't be the case because Duralumin was... No, because it's not Duralumin that controls the Kolos, it's the soothing. So, brass. So, do the Inquisitors know or not know about Duralumin? I kind of just assume once the main character knows, then shortly thereafter everyone will know to depower again.
I don't
if
know.
you know what I mean.
He's saying reports now indicated the edge was gone. That could now be the
evidence.
Whatever this power that they have. Well, mine says reports.
Oh, interesting.
So
reports, then I can believe mean that the Inquisitors writ large do know. The evidence suggests to me in this one isolated incident and not necessarily the grander whole. So going with yours, I would say yes, they all know.
I think reports is the same thing, that you just know that Inquisitors have an edge. They're stronger and faster. They have something extra from reports.
Yeah.
So you're just going to say, oh, well, that's probably Duralumin. So they've made that assumption.
I mean, admittedly, I kind of assumed from the get-go that they knew. I never for a second believed they didn't know. Like going back to as long as we've known about Duralumin.
Well, I'm hoping we're wrong, but either way, they haven't. Even if they know about Duralumin, they've got this other power that we're going to be learning about and having to fight.
Yeah.
Going forward, and again, I'm really with the fact that they were trying to go after Ellen with this spike makes me go, oof, they're really trying to extra.
Yeah, that spike is totally a power suck, right? Trying to take it for himself. Fortunately, they still had Electrum. Poor man's Atium. The Lord Ruler was to be thanked for that, in fact. Normally, an Allomancer burning Atium, which allowed an Allomancer to see slightly into the future, was virtually invincible. Only another Allomancer burning the metal could fight them, unless one had Electrum. It didn't convey the same invincibility, but the immunity to Atium that it granted was invaluable. Quick little recap of Electrum, which we got a couple chapters back.
Yeah, and it is quite a... We still don't, at this point in the chapter, know why they know about Electrum and
yes,
how we didn't know about it at all, but it makes sense that would be a huge, huge secret to keep. You wouldn't let that be circulating in any way, because you don't want, essentially, Atium immunity to be circulating in that economy.
Correct.
Elend,
Vin said, kneeling.
It wasn't Duralumin. The Inquisitor was moving too quickly even for that.
Elend had seen the Inquisitor move out of the corner of his eye, but surely it hadn't been that fast. Vin had a tendency to be paranoid and assume the worst. Of course, she also had a habit of being right. Elend, when has Vin ever been right?
No, but she still is right in some way. The thing is that's what the thing is. She's right in some way. She's right that that the thing that they assumed was the truth was not the truth. Okay?
Yes.
So, sure, she was wrong about what the actual truth was, but she knew that they were wrong. Okay? So
Yes.
she was right about them being wrong. So I'm happy with that. And Ellen, yeah, does need to just pay attention to her. Flippin' hell. Always dismissing. Or being tempted to dismiss.
I get really mad at Elend in this chapter.
Well, he questions. I think he's doing his due diligence. And yeah, I don't want him to be a yes man. That's true. So
Yeah.
he's not, you do want him to consider it, but yeah, it is annoying. It's like, yeah, of course. So at least he goes through the thought and he's like, okay, fine. She's usually paranoid. Oh, but you know what? She's probably right. So
Yeah.
fine.
Though the line did have me reflecting on Vin's wrong a lot. She was wrong about attacking the shadow of the 11th metal.
Mm-hmm.
She was wrong about being the hero of ages. I mean, I still think technically the jury is still out on it, but I don't.
Mm-hmm.
She was wrong about giving up the power. She was wrong about Dogasaur. She's been wrong a lot. I kind of like it.
She was wrong about Dogasur, sure, but she was right about being. She also figured out how to control them. So
True.
she knew there was something to be found. She knew which mystery was where. That's what I mean by she knew that what they thought was wrong.
She's
That's
very
the thing.
inquisitive, and
Yeah, exactly.
that's how she finds stuff out, and it's great.
Yeah, so
I like Vin.
yes, you better flippin' hell.
I like Vin better than Elend. I don't dislike Elend anymore, but yeah. So clearly we should do a ranking. No, that wouldn't be fair to do. She reached out and grabbed the front of the corpse's robe, ripping it free. Elend turned away. Vin, have respect for the dead. And at that line, I just cussed out Elend. Screw you. First off, do you know what they did to her? First off, do you know what they are? Second off, do you know what they're working toward right now? Third off, they just tried to kill you two. Respect for the Inquisitors. Come on.
Like really, he's so the way that he just has this residual like ick from this. It's like, you know, guy, we're not in that time. Like you're full of blood right now. Do you think he would give a shit about you? He was about gonna spike you, but you know what? It's cute. The fact that he has that still.
Yeah.
It's like, get over it now. I have no respect for these things, nor will I ever. Did you see how that thing tried to use one of its spikes to kill you?
That was odd. Perhaps he felt he couldn't get to the axes in time. Nope, he's trying to steal your powers, Elend.
Yes, Ellen, like, yes, let's just dismiss that he just had a spike and it was fun. You know, it was like, I prefer axes, but here's a spike. It's like, listen, that's very specific, okay?
Yeah.
They weren't doing this before. Let's, like, I understand you do think of the simplest explanation, but we're going to dismiss them, okay, Ellen? Cool. Here, look.
Elend glanced back. The Inquisitor had most of the standard spikes, 3 pounded between the ribs on the right side of the chest and 4 on the left. There was no sign of an atium spike, so perhaps the Inquisitor had originally been a Mistborn. But there was one more spike, one Elend hadn't seen in any other Inquisitor corpse, pounded directly through the front of this creature's chest.
Mine does not have anything about the Mistborn. It just had the standard spikes, 3 pounded between the ribs on each side of the chest, but there was another one. Ellen hadn't seen any Inquisitor corpse. Any other Inquisitor corpse. Yeah.
So, because I was going to say, this suggests that the various metal is associated with various power, and the atium spike is the one that is for Mistborn.
So just, can you reread the part for Mistborn for me? Just the part the sentence that included Mistborn?
There was no sign of an atium spike, so perhaps this Inquisitor had originally been a Mistborn. So atium spikes are used on Allomancers who are not Mistborn to become Mistborn.
Okay.
Is what that implies to me.
Yeah, and imagine a whole atium spike. That would be pretty cool. You could take that.
Lord Ruler, Elend thought. That must have gone right through its heart. How did it survive? Of course, if 2 spikes through the brain didn't kill it, then 1 through the heart probably wouldn't either. Yeah.
Okay, Ellen, look, maybe listen, he's quite tired.
Yeah.
We've just had a battle.
Yeah. We're still suffering a tiny, tiny bit from new book syndrome, where we're trying to recap some basic things
Mm-hmm.
for all of the characters in the world to catch everyone up to speed.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine. Not complaining. Just making fun of Ellen because he suffers.
Mm-hmm.
Vin reached down and yanked the spike free. Ellen winced. She held it up, frowning.
Pewter.
Really? She nodded.
That makes 10 sparks. 2 through the eyes and
Whoa,
1 through
whoa,
the
whoa, whoa,
shoulders.
whoa, 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 whoa.
That's you.
No. You said
Oh,
10 spikes? Yours says 10?
yeah.
Mine says
Yeah, it
11.
says 10. Mm.
Hold on. Okay. Finish the line.
That makes 10 spikes. 2 through the eyes and 1 through the shoulders. All steel. 6 through the ribs. 2 steel. 4 bronze.
Ribs.
Now
Okay, so mine
this.
says 7 through the ribs. 2 steel, 4 bronze, 1 gold. You go.
There's no gold mentioned in mine.
Okay.
Now this, a pewter one, not to mention the one he tried to use on you, which appears to be steel. Oh god. New magic.
Yeah. Fascinating. Why omit the gold?
Yeah. What that must mean, it must be something you can change around willy-nilly without having too much of a consequence later on in the book.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we clearly can have inquisitors can have different configurations of sparks depending on who they were, what powers they had before.
Correct.
And also, I suppose, on whatever they're being infused with, a person and, a terrorisman or something. So you've got 11 sparks, I've got 10. 2 through the eyes and 1 through the shoulders, all steel. So 3 steel there accounted for. 6 through the ribs, 2 steel, 4 bronze. So another 2 steel and then 4 bronze. Now a pewter one. So it seems like this pewter thing, isn't there usually a pewter spark? Is there not usually a pewter spark? Because our assumption, remember, was that each metal gets a spark.
Yeah, I think it's that the pewter one is new here in the sense that it's in a location that they're not familiar with. And I think it's our presumption that pewter is associated with granting feruchemy.
It could be with granting feruchemy, or it's just through whatever that, what do we call it? The blood magic, basically.
Hemalurgy? Hemomancy?
Yeah, hemalurgy. Yeah, that thing. Through that, if we're just thinking about what pewter does, and the fact that this guy was extra strong, extra fast, he's got, through this pewter spark, he got this extra speed. Also,
Yes.
and strength, because pewter does, it grants you speed in a way. And I think, feruchemy, the feruchemical purpose of pewter is also to hold speed.
Right.
I don't want to check I could check the older book, because this one has this book does have the hemalurgy or whatever metal in the back as well. I don't want to, that's a spoiler.
Nah, yeah, no. We don't need to. At least not right now, I think. Ellen studied the spike in her hand. In allomancy and feruchemy, different metals did different things. He could only guess that for inquisitors, the type of metal used in the spikes was important as well. Perhaps they don't use allomancy at all, but some third power. Gee! Ellen, that's so insightful of you to think.
I mean, yeah, I suppose they don't. I suppose there was the discussion, or the idea that, they use allomancy.
Well, I mean, they
The
can
way he's
push
saying
and
it
pull
here.
and detect and what have you. It's just that they
Mm.
come by that power a different way. But
Yeah.
I feel like when you have giant spikes through your eyes and your heart and your chest, you kind of assume that that's magically induced power.
But they make Mistborn out of that, using some third power. But I'm saying, like, they're actually not using allomancy after all. They have the same powers, but they're not using it at all.
Right, like they're not drinking the shavings and burning them. They're pulling on the
Yeah.
power from something else, which is possible.
Yeah.
Again,
It makes more
I think
sense.
it's the hemalurgy thing.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Maybe.
Vin said, gripping the spike and standing up.
We'll need to cut open the stomach and see if it had atium. Okay, so here we just spoke about it. Okay, so now we have to cut open the stomach to see if there's atium. So they actually need to put atium in their stomach to burn atium.
Yes. So that does mean that they are casting, allomancy. And if they're starting... So here's the thing. Mistborn aren't common. So I feel like they're getting something like, say, a thug, and then they're granting him Mistborn abilities through the spikes. Yeah, is what I think is happening. Maybe this one will finally have some. They always burned Electrum as a precaution, but so far none of the Inquisitors they'd met had possessed any atium. Vin shook her head, staring out over the ash-covered battlefield.
We're missing something, Elend. We're like children playing a game we've watched our parents play, but not really knowing any of the rules. And our opponent created the game in the first place.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah. What can we do with that? What must Ellen do with that? Like, yeah, I know. It sucks. Sucks to be us.
Yep. Ellen stepped around the corpse, moving over to her. Vin, we don't know if it's out there. The thing we saw a year ago at the well. Perhaps it's gone. Perhaps it left now that it's free. That could be all it wanted. Stupid Ellen.
Okay, Ellen. Like, I suppose you're wishful thinking. You're just voicing your wishful thinking. You know we can't. Nobody's going to take that. You're not going to take that. But just say the things, I suppose.
Yeah, way too optimistic. I'm not saying don't be optimistic, Ellen, but you're wasting precious energy right now. Vin looked at him. He could read in her eyes that she didn't believe that. Perhaps she saw that he didn't really believe it either.
It's out there, Elend. It's directing the Inquisitors. It knows what we're doing. That's why the Kolos always move against the same cities we do. It has power over the world. It can change text that has been written, create miscommunications and confusion. It knows our plans.
And I got that, and I remember having dual thoughts. One, I'm very glad that Vin and Elend both know this. Very, very glad. And then part two, again, I'm surprised that it didn't come from Sazed in his POV. But then again, going on the dual thought, this informs us, the reader, that information has been shared.
Yeah, we do need that. Like, that would be silly not to share.
Yeah. Elend put a hand on her shoulder. But today we beat it, and it sent us this handy Kolos army.
And how many humans did we lose trying to capture this force?
Elend didn't need to speak the answer. Too many. Their numbers were dwindling. The mists, the deepness, were growing more powerful, choking the life from random people, killing the crops of the rest. The outer dominances were wastelands. Only the lands closest to the capital, Luthadel, still got enough daylight to grow food, and that area of livability was shrinking.
Right, so we are properly... the end of the world is happening. It's not like, oh, it's coming. Like, it is. This is proper. Like, their numbers are dwindling, everything. And this now just makes me think of the epigraph, right? We have all of that going on, and he moved stuff around to make everything fine. But this is the deepness thing. We still don't really know this nature of, is it the deepness part of ruin? And now it's been released. It's even worse. Yeah, it's just because I don't know, the mists themselves are not from Rashek. That's what I'm getting.
Correct.
The ash is what he did because the sun was too close. But then so the mists thing, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know why I'm not convinced that the mists and ruin are separate. I think it was because of the black smoke. I think I elaborated on the theory a little bit in the epigraph stream, and I just don't remember it right now. But I am suspecting that the two are different. Different,
but does ruin have any power over the mists?
I don't know, because the mist is going around killing people, and I think that was presumed in part to be ruin. So I have no clue.
And then we still have that kind of thing of there was the other mist creature that didn't seem to be that helped Ellen basically stay alive. Why did
Yeah.
that happen? Yeah.
But then there was also a mist creature that tried to kill him. So,
Yeah.
hmm,
So yeah, it does make sense that yeah, ruin the mists and ruin could be probably separate. Yeah.
yeah. Hope, Ellen thought forcefully. She needs that from me. She's always needed that from me. He tightened his grip on her shoulder, then pulled her into an embrace. We'll beat it, Vin. We'll find a way. She didn't contradict him, but she clearly wasn't convinced. Still, she let him hold her, closing her eyes and resting her head against his chest. They stood on the battlefield before their fallen foe, but Ellen had to admit it didn't feel like much of a victory, not with the world collapsing around them. That was a really sweet hug.
Yeah, it's just like that's all you can do. Like she's not going to be convinced. Nobody is going to be convinced that we're gonna get through this, but we're just gonna keep trying. That's all you need to be convinced of. And yeah, I guess it just keeps me thinking about the same sort of thing in Way of Kings, where it's just keep going, just keep going. There's so much loss, there's so much pain, but just keep going.
Hope, he thought again. I belong to the Church of the Survivor. It has only one prime commandment. Survive.
Sorry, that's quite a thing now. He's even thinking of being part of the church. And yes, he it seems like he's shaped it a little bit, because remember the last part of the book, he said survive. And now he's like, it's got one prime commandment. It's like, it feels like he shaped that, because that was what he thought in the end there, in the end of the last book.
Perhaps. I thought it was the other way around, but I can see how you got to that from your perspective.
Give me one of the Kolos.
Vin finally said, pulling out of the embrace. Ellen released a medium-large creature, letting Vin take control of it. He still didn't quite understand how they controlled the creatures. Once he had command of a Kolos, he could direct it indefinitely, whether sleeping or awake, burning metals or not. That was neat and very good to know.
Yeah, very good to know. It's like, yeah, you don't. What happens if I run out of metal? We need to know that. Cool. So you don't need it. So it's kind of like you get assigned to, once you've broken through, they're yours, and you don't need metals to keep them. Okay.
Yeah. There were many things he didn't understand about Allomancy. He'd had only a year to use his powers, and he had been distracted by ruling an empire and trying to feed his people, not to mention the wars. He'd had little time for practice. Of course, Vin had less time than that to practice before she killed the Lord Ruler. But she was a special case. She used Allomancy as easily as other people breathed. It was less a skill to her than an extension of who she was. Ellen might have more raw power, as she always insisted, but she was the true master.
Yeah, there is this thing of, like, I mean, remember she instinctively burned pewter. She had, it's just this natural thing. But I think that's probably because she gained this power when she was a baby.
Correct.
Obviously, that's the running theory, is that she was given the power.
Yeah. Vin's lone Kolos wandered over and picked up the fallen Inquisitor and the spike. Then Ellen and Vin walked down the hill, Vin's Kolos servant following toward the human army. The Kolos troops split to make a passage at Ellen's command. He suppressed a shiver as he controlled them. Fatrin, the dirty man who ruled the city, had thought to set up a triage unit, though Ellen wasn't very confident in the abilities of a group of ska surgeons. Rude, fair, but rude.
Better than nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to understand a little bit more about them controlling the Kolos. Like, how mentally taxing is it? What does it feel like?
It sounds like it's not mentally taxing at all. Like, you just, you do it, and then suddenly, okay, you're mine, we're good.
Yeah. And I'll focus on this one and let this one do it. It's just, they're part of your mind, essentially. It's like they're like your limbs, your fingers,
Yeah. Why'd they stop? Fatrin asked, standing in front of his men as Vin and Ellen approached across the ash-stained ground. I promised you a second army, Lord Fatrin, Ellen said. Well, here it is. The Kolos? He asked. Ellen nodded. But they're the army that came to destroy us. And now they're ours, Ellen said. Your men did very well. Make certain they understand that this victory was theirs. We had to force that Inquisitor out into the open, and the only way to do that was to turn his army against itself. Kolos become afraid when they see something small defeating something large. Your men fought bravely. Because of them, these Kolos are ours. So that line, they become afraid when they see something small defeating something large, I think has several purposes. One being the literal, two being that's the line for this book is all of them, humanity, will band together to fight ruin. Ruin is this great big thing and humans are small. Somehow they will defeat it. And then I also think maybe there's also a little bit of that going on in Way of Kings as well, with the unite them stuff against the big scary Everstorm. It's about unity.
Unity defeating the big bad. Yeah.
David and Goliath.
And also, yeah, hey?
David and Goliath.
And then also this thing is, okay, well, they're clearly not going to be running around explaining that they can control the Kolos now. They're not going to do that. They're just, yeah, no, we defeated them and now we have their loyalty. That's all you need to know, essentially.
Yeah. Well, I don't expect Fatrin to know much about any kind of Allomancy, let alone a type of it that Elend doesn't even fully understand.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just not worth explaining. I mean, it's okay for them not to have that knowledge. Especially because even though... Hey?
Details.
No, but even as well, like, because I'm like, oh, well, it doesn't matter if the humans know it or not know it. But, like, there are still the politics. The politics still goes on. Even though we're trying to save the world, other people would be trying to benefit from it, benefit from the chaos and play their own desperate games. So, yeah, controlling information is still important, even though the world is ending.
Yeah. Fatrin scratched his chin. So, he said slowly, they got afraid of us, so they switched sides? Something like that, Elend said, looking over the soldiers. He mentally commanded some Kolos to step forward. These creatures will obey orders from the men in this group. Have them carry your wounded to the city, and make certain not to let your men attack or punish the Kolos. They are our servants now, understand? Fatrin nodded.
Let's go,
Vin said, eagerness sounding in her voice as she looked over at the small city. Lord Fatrin, do you want to come with us, or do you want to supervise your men? Fatrin's eyes narrowed. What are you going to do? There is something in your city we need to claim. Fatrin hesitated only briefly. I'll come then. He gave some orders to his men while Vin waited impatiently. Elend gave her a smile, then finally Fatrin joined them, and the three walked toward the Vedetan gate. Good move on Fatrin to know what's going on.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect, like, okay, just go in and do what you want over there. Like, I want to know what you're up to.
Yeah, why this city? Why did you bother with us?
What are you claiming?
Yeah. What is there even to claim? Lord Fatrin, Elend said as they walked, you should address me as my lord from now on. Fatrin looked up from his nervous study of the Kolos standing around them. Do you understand? Elend said, meeting the man's eyes. Yes, my lord. And then I think of him saying that to Ham, and I'm like, not to suggest that he said that to Ham, but I remember the topic of how he could say that to Ham, and I there's some appreciation here for that. Elend nodded, and Fatrin fell a little behind him and Vin, as if showing deference. He didn't seem rebellious, for now. He was probably happy to be alive. See, Elend thinks that. I understand this is an uncomfortable situation for Fatrin. I think an eye will need to be kept on him.
Yeah, I don't know about deference. It's just, fine, I'll let you go ahead of me. I don't need to talk to you.
Yeah. I feel a little bad for him. Elend is certainly coming in very direct, no nonsense about it. And, there's goodness in that. And I say goodness in the sense that it's like we know what it took to get Elend to this point. But I feel like it's lacking some amount of charisma that should be necessary.
Well, I find, and yeah, I guess the charisma, yeah, he's not earning, their loyalty. He's just demanding respect with his presence. But I think in this chapter we get, at least I'm quite satisfied with Elend having a bit more of an internal struggle with what he's doing.
Yeah.
It's not like we've completely lost him to Tyrant Elend.
Yeah. He might eventually resent Elend for taking command of his city, but by then there would be little he could do. Fatrin's people would be accustomed to the security of being part of a larger empire, and the stories of Elend's mysterious command of the Kolos, and therefore salvation of the city, would be too strong. Fatrin would never rule again. Yeah, that's a tough line right there.
Yeah, but I don't know about Fatrin calling it rule for himself. He's just trying. He's leading. Ruling is has a different connotation to me.
That's a big thing, and I agree. Like, Fatrin didn't like he took command because he had the personality and the wherewithal to protect the people, which is very admirable. Uncouth because of the ska nature, I suppose you could say, but like he did good. So yeah, and you say that like he'll still be able to rule over his people as long as Elend's okay with what he's doing. So
Yeah.
harsh, but So easily I command, Elend thought. Less than 2 years ago I made more mistakes than this man. At least he managed to keep his city's people together in a time of crisis. I lost my throne until Vin reclaimed it on my behalf. Made more mistakes than this man. The first time I read that, I feel like I misread it, and I read into it thinking he was suggesting that Fatrin had made mistakes, but the point of that line is that he didn't make mistakes, and Elend did.
I worry about you. Did you have to start the battle without me?
Elend glanced over. There was no reproach in her voice, only concern. I wasn't sure when or if you'd arrive, he said. The opportunity was too good. The Kolos had just marched an entire day. We probably killed 500 before they decided to start attacking. Huge number.
That is pretty huge, but yeah, it's kind of like, cool. So you did just take a chance and hope for the best. And the Inquisitor? Did you really think you could take him on your own?
Did you? You fought him for a good 5 minutes before I was able to get there and help. Vin didn't use the obvious...
5 minutes? Yes. She should kill him in 1 minute, not even.
Vin didn't use the obvious argument that she was by far the more accomplished Mistborn. Instead, she walked silently, still worried about him, though she no longer tried to protect him from all danger. Both her worry and her willingness to let him take risks were part of her love for him, and he sincerely appreciated both. It's nice to know Vin has chilled out a bit since her revelations from the last book.
Yeah, and it also does help that Elend has a lot more power than he had before. So
True.
She doesn't... It does take a weight off her shoulders that, you know, she is not just the only special one now.
Yeah, that helps. Elend's a big boy now. He can take care of himself. She'll still worry, as is her right, and she should, but...
Yeah, she's not trying to obsessively keep him close and contain him. He's now allowed to live his life.
Yes. The two of them tried to stay together as much as possible, but that wasn't always feasible. Such as when Elend had discovered a Kolos army marching on an indefensible city while Vin was away delivering orders to Penrod and Luthadel. That was a big line for me, because it's like, what do you mean Vin was away in Luthadel? Where is Elend's seat of power right now?
Well, it seems like Luthadel, but...
Right.
She's delivering orders to Penrod and Luthadel, but Elend has to go around and stabilize things, and we also, at this point in the chapter, we don't know what they're looking for, what they're out searching for as well.
Yeah. But in theory, then it would be while Elend was out and Vin was home, giving it home at Luthadel. Anyway, that's like nitpicky-ish. Elend had hoped she would return to his army camp in time to find out where he had gone, then come help, but he hadn't been able to wait, not with thousands of lives at stake. Thousands of lives and more. They eventually reached the gates. A crowd of soldiers who had either arrived late to the battle or been too afraid to charge stood atop the bulwark, looking down with awe. Several thousand Kolos had gotten past Elend's men and tried to attack the city. These now stood motionless, by his unspoken command, waiting outside the bulwark. Cool.
Very
Cowards,
cool.
but cool. The soldiers opened the gates, letting in Vin, Elend, Fatrin, and Vin's single Kolos servant. Most of them eyed Vin's Kolos with distrust, as well they should. She ordered it to put down the dead Inquisitor, then made it follow as the three of them walked down the ash-piled city street. Vin had a philosophy. The more people who saw Kolos and grew accustomed to the creatures, the better. It made the people less frightened of the beasts, and made it easier for them to fight should they have to face Kolos in battle. I like that philosophy a lot.
Yeah, it's not going to make it that much easier. I mean, you know what an Inquisitor looks like, and you're still going to be flippant scared when you see it. But we don't need them, we don't need the people themselves with Kolos. I mean, getting over the shock of seeing them is quite a big thing for people to deal with. So, yeah, this philosophy makes a lot of sense. You need to just make them a conquerable foe. It's not a death sentence to see a Kolos.
Agreed. They soon approached the ministry building that Elend had inspected upon first entering the city. Vin's Kolos walked forward and began to rip the boards off its doors. "The ministry building," Fatrin said. "We already searched it. What good is it?" Elend eyed him. "My lord," Fatrin said belatedly. "It has to do with the Steel Ministry's direct link to the Lord Ruler," Elend said. The Kolos yanked the door open. Moving inside, Elend burned tin, enhancing his eyesight so he could see in the dim light. Vin, clearly doing the same, had little trouble picking her way across the broken boards and furniture littering the floor. Apparently, Fatrin's people hadn't only searched the place, they'd ransacked it. Humorous
So, in
line.
my book, by the way, in my book, after My Lord from Fatrin, we actually have we have a longer world rebuilding moment, because he goes, its obligators were his eyes across the empire, and through them he controlled the nobility, watched over commerce, and made certain that orthodoxy was maintained. It's like, you don't need to explain that to someone who's already been part of the final empire, but
Yeah.
so I'm glad. I prefer your version.
I agree. That's a bit clunky for me. Yours.
Yeah.
"But none of the ministry's obligators are in the city anymore, my lord," Fatrin said. "They all left with the nobility." "The obligators saw to some very important projects, Fatrin. Things like trying to discover how to use new allomantic metals, or searching for lines of Terris blood that were breeding true. One of their projects is of particular interest to us,"
Here.
Vin said, calling out from beside something set in the floor. A hidden trapdoor. And then I'm like, ooh, so there's more of what we got in the cavern. Maybe there are multiple wells of ascension. Crossed my mind. I didn't think it was that, but the idea came in.
No, I definitely thought, okay, caches. We're getting caches, yeah.
Yeah, that was fairly obvious immediately. Fatrin glanced back toward the sunlight, perhaps wishing that he'd decided to bring a few soldiers with him. By the trapdoor, Vin lit a lantern she'd salvaged from somewhere. In the blackness of a basement, tin wouldn't provide sight. Vin opened the trapdoor, and they made their way down the ladder. It eventually ended in a wine cellar. Elend walked to the center of the small, untouched cellar, surveying it as Vin began to check the walls.
"I found it,"
she said a second later, rapping her fist on a certain portion of the stone block wall. Elend walked forward, joining her. Sure enough, there was a thin slit in the stones, barely visible, burning steel. Elend could see two faint blue lines pointing to metal plates hidden behind the stone. Two stronger lines pointed behind him toward a large metal plate set into the wall, affixed securely with enormous bolts bored into the stone.
"Ready?"
Vin asked.
We've got extra strength Elend over there.
Elend nodded, flaring his iron. They both pulled on the plate, buried in the stone wall, steadying themselves by also pulling against the plate behind them. Not for the first time, the foresight of the ministry impressed Elend. How could they have known that someday a group of Ska would take control of this city? Yet this door had not only been hidden, it had been crafted so that it required someone with allomancy to open it. So, you're making some presumptions here, Elend. There's no reason to believe that Ska would have taken control of this city. Even if they hadn't and the nobility were still in charge, that cache is still there. So that was a weird line for me.
yeah, the doomsday that is being prepped for, I don't think is a Scar rebellion. The doomsday that's been prepped for, that all of this is what we're talking about here. If Ruin makes it out.
Yeah, so I do not think that at any point the Lord Ruler wondered or thought that the Ska would take control of the city. And that's what the... Anyway, Ellen gets some thoughts later on in this chapter about the Lord Ruler that perturbed me. We'll get to them. Ellen continued to pull in both directions at once, feeling as if his body were being stretched between two horses. Fortunately, he had the power of pewter to strengthen his body and keep it from ripping apart. Vin grunted in effort beside him, and soon a section of the wall began to slide toward them. No amount of prying would have been able to wedge the thick stone open, and only a lengthy, arduous effort would have been enough to break through. Yet with Allomancy, they opened the door in a matter of seconds. Finally, they let go. Vin exhaled in exhaustion, and Ellen could tell that it had been more difficult for her than it was for him. Often he didn't feel justified in having more power than she. After all, he'd been an Allomancer for far less time. So,
Yeah, that's not how it works.
yeah, that's not how it works.
It's cute that he feels guilty, though.
Yeah. Now, we have theorized that Vin had the same metal that Ellen had. And there's so much emphasis so far in this book on Ellen is stronger than Vin. But let's not forget 2 full books of Vin is special. She's unusually stronger than the rest. So I did wonder at that line whether or not it was just a gender thing. That Vin is small and tiny and petite. So, like, if she were the same height and weight of Ellen, she would be just as strong as him, maybe. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but...
Yeah, I wonder... Would they talk about gender differences, I suppose, in Mistborn? Maybe they would. But yeah...
I think it's unlikely.
Even so, if this is... and they have an exceptional Mistborn ability, both of them. So even if that's how it works, gender-wise or sex-wise, you know, it would be different. It could be different to the genetic allomancy expression.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get some elaboration on this element in the future. Vin picked up her lantern and they moved into the now open room. Like the other 2 Ellen had seen, this cavern was enormous. It extended into the distance, their lantern's light making no more than a faint dent in the blackness. Fatrin gasped in wonder as he joined them in the doorway. The room was filled with shelves, hundreds of them, thousands. "What is it?" Fatrin asked. "Food," Ellen said, "and basic supplies, medicines, cloth, water." "So much," Fatrin said. "Here all along." "Go get more men. Soldiers. We'll need them to guard the entrance to keep people from breaking in and stealing anything." Fatrin's face hardened. "This place belongs to my people."
Oopsie. Yeah, listen. You've forgotten how this works. But that's going to happen. You're going to assert your claim when there's something to claim, right?
Yeah. You didn't even know it was there.
Yeah, and
you
they
never
just
would have
opened this
found
up.
it.
Yeah, they opened this up for you right now. But
And
it's like, no, this belongs to us now.
yeah, and technically, like he said, we're guarding it. He didn't say we're taking it. He said we need soldiers to guard it, which is wise in any and all cases.
Yes, especially just like, oh, you find out that there's food, there'll be a riot. I don't care how many people there are or how good you think they are. People will riot. And I'm wondering how you're going to get soldiers to work with that as well. You might need to use Kolos.
Yeah.
To guard it, because I don't know if I trust these men.
Yeah, so again, I was surprised they only brought one of the Kolos in with them. I would have thought, like, they knew what they were looking for. They knew they were going to find it. They knew it was there. So why just bring the one Kolos? Why not bring, like, 4 or 5 to guard the entrance? Right off the bat. And then Ellen appropriately says, "My people, Fatrin," Ellen said, watching Vin walk farther into the room, bearing the light with her. This city is mine now, as are its contents. You came to rob us, Fatrin accused, just like the bandits who tried to take the city last year. He just saved you.
Yeah. No, we just, you know what, he's just gonna jump to the conclusion that's, you know what, let him have this fight now. Just argue with him now. Fine.
Yeah,
Do it.
might as well get it
Say
out of
what
the
you
way.
need to say. Yeah.
No, Elend said, turning toward the soot-stained man. I came to conquer you. There's a difference. I don't see one. Elend gritted his teeth to keep himself from snapping at the man. The fatigue, the draining effect of leading an empire that seemed doomed, put him on edge so often lately. No, he told himself. Men like Fatrin need more than another tyrant. They need someone to look up to.
So this gives me hope about Elend, you know, that he's really trying hard, okay? It's not like he's completely turned. So we have had at least that sort of reassurance, considering what we were talking about last time, that we were worried. Did you get reassurance from this? The fact that he's having these, like, I know you've got thoughts about what he thinks about the Lord Ruler, but here, this kind of thinking, does that reassure you compared to what we had before?
No, I don't think he's going to turn. I don't think he's going to be bad. He might be very tempted to make a handful of moral sacrifices in this book. But I have no doubt we're going to get a happy ending. I think it may be a bit on the bittersweet side, but I think the day will be saved at the end of all of this. Especially considering I think that these epigraphs are post Save the World. Elend approached the man and intentionally didn't use emotional allomancy on him. Good, Elend. Win with logic.
Yep.
Soothing was effective in many situations, but it wore off quickly. It couldn't be used to make permanent allies. Very good, Elend.
Yeah. If it becomes obvious as well, it's not gonna do you any favors. I think Breeze might disagree with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure it fades, but you got to mix it in with convincing people of things. We've had that sort of thought through Breeze's POV, but yeah, this is Elend. Yeah.
Lord Fatrin, I want you to think carefully about what you're arguing for. What would happen if I did leave you? With this much food, this much wealth down here, can you trust your people not to break in? Your soldiers not to try selling some of this to other cities? What happens when the secret of your food supply gets out? Will you welcome the thousands of refugees who will come? Will you protect them in this cavern against the raiders and bandits who will follow? Nice speech. Logical. Accurate.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, what are you gonna? You want this problem, please? Sure. Oh, you're stealing it from me. You know, no, I know that is your immediate reaction, but let's think about this, okay?
Yeah. Fatrin fell silent. Elend laid a hand on the man's shoulder. I meant what I said outside, Lord Fatrin. Your people fought well. I was very impressed. They owe their survival today to you, your foresight, your training. Mere hours ago, they assumed they would be slaughtered by Kolos. Now they are not only safe, but under the protection of a much larger army. Don't fight this. You've struggled well, but it is time to have allies. I won't lie to you. I'm going to take the contents of this cavern, whether you resist me or not. But I will also give you the protection of my armies, the stability of my food supplies, and my word of honor that you can continue to rule your people under me. We need to work together, Lord Fatrin. That's the sole way any of us are going to survive the next few years. Excellent speech, Elend. And again, I think it really shines against the Kolos are scared when small things kill them. This is going to be all of the small people banding together to stand up against the big bad ruin.
And what I like about the way that he does the speech as well, so I'm just going into the moment of it right now as well, is he's not lying to him. He's saying what the guy needs to hear, but he's not lying to him either.
Yeah.
And he's not saying, oh, we're going to get through this, it's going to be amazing. He's just like, it's the only way for us to survive the next few years. He's not saying we're going to prosper or whatever. He's talking about just surviving. So that's what I appreciate. And also just note all the Lord Fatrins that keep coming in there, just to, like, that's little psychological influences and manipulations.
Good point, Kitty. Good catch. Fatrin looked up. You're right, of course, he said, no matter how much I wish I could deny it. I'll go get those men you asked for, my lord. Thank you, Ellen said. If you have anyone who can write, send them to me. We'll need to catalog what we have down here. Good, Fatrin. You're a dog who has lived on the street for a while and is getting used to being adopted.
Yeah. There is security here. It makes logical sense. Don't fight this. Yeah.
Fatrin nodded, then left.
Once you couldn't do things like that,
Vin said from a short distance away, her voice echoing in the large cavern. Like what?
give a man such forceful commands. Take control away from him. You'd have wanted to give these people a vote on whether or not they should join your empire.
Elend looked back at the doorway. He stood silently for a moment. He hadn't used emotional allomancy, yet he felt as if he'd bullied Fatrin anyway. You logicked him, though.
Yeah, you logicked him. It's all true. Like I said, you didn't lie to him. You didn't give him time to argue, because what would the arguments be? Oh, we wanna vote, and there is a reason. As much as they're abused, there is a reason for wartime rules and wartime powers. Okay?
Exactly.
This is why. Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like a failure, Vin. There should be another way.
Not right now, there isn't.
Vin said, walking up to him, putting a hand on his arm.
They need you, Elend. You know that they do.
He nodded. I know it. I simply can't help but think that a better man would have found a way to make the will of the people work along with his rule.
Okay, sure. Like, at least he's still thinking about this and having feelings about it, but yeah. So I don't blame him for that. I'm not irritated with him for this. But yeah, the reality is still there. So what Vin is trying to explain to him is pretty true. You did. Your parliamentary assembly still rules in Lutherdale, and the kingdoms you reign over maintain basic rights and privileges for the Scar. That's true. He has made a difference. As much as the world is ending, he has made a difference, and the parliamentary assembly is in Lutherdale. So there you go.
I was so happy to read that. I think that's excellent. And again, like this is wartime powers. So in times of peace, great. Let that parliamentary assembly do what it's going to do. And you can, take a back seat as you prefer. But you're literally preparing for the end of the world.
It is the end of the world. Not even preparing. You're trying to gather up the wreckage of one disaster to prepare for the next disaster.
Yep. Compromises. They get to do what they want only as long as I don't disagree with them.
It's enough. You have to be realistic, Elend.
When my friends and I met together, I was the one who spoke of the perfect dreams, of the great things we'd accomplish. I was always the idealist.
Emperors don't have that luxury.
Elend looked at her, then sighed, turning away.
Oof. Yep. You don't have that luxury. It's the way it is. It's sad to see that, but you hope they hold on to this good, the light within themselves as they go through all of this. And that's what we like about them.
Correct. Vin stood, watching Elend in the cold lantern light of the cavern. She hated seeing such regret, such disillusionment in him. In a way, his current problems seemed worse than the self-doubt he had once struggled with. He seemed to see himself as a failure despite what he had accomplished. But he didn't let himself wallow in that failure. He moved on, working despite his regret. He was a harder man than he once had been. That wasn't necessarily a bad thing. The old Elend had been a man who was easily dismissed by many, a genius who had wonderful ideas, but little ability to lead. But she missed some of what was gone, the simple idealism. Elend was still an optimist, and he was still a scholar, but both attributes seemed tempered by what he had been forced to endure. Sounding a little bit like Alendi there.
Yeah, exactly. She's not like, oh no, he's changed, and because change is very scary for a person like Vin, but she's appreciating, she still loves him.
Yeah. She watched him move along one of the storage shelves, trailing a finger in the dust. He brought the finger up, looking at it for a moment, then snapped it, throwing a small burst of dust into the air. The beard made him seem more rugged, like the wartime commander he had become. A year of solid training with Allomancy and the sword had strengthened his body, and he needed to get his uniforms retailored to fit properly. Buff Elend.
Mm-hmm.
The one he wore now was still stained from battle. Oof.
Just something as well to note. Sorry, I just wanted to note. We're talking about all the character progression and things like that. Just remember Vin having that huge fear of Elend not needing her anymore. That is entirely gone. You know, she's
Yay.
noticing that he's this wartime commander and whatever. And there's usually we would have this kind of, oh no, he's not going to need me anymore and I'm not useful anymore. That insecurity is not shining through at the moment. I'm sure if she has a bad moment or a bad day or something, it could come up, because that sort of thing doesn't just go away forever and ever, but it doesn't take part in her daily life anymore. So I'm feeling so much maturity from Vin's point, like who Vin is right now.
Yeah, I agree, and it's excellent.
Mm.
This place is amazing, isn't it? Elend asked. Vin turned, glancing into the darkness of the storage cavern.
I suppose.
He knew Vin, the Lord Ruler. He suspected that this day would come, when the mists returned and food would be scarce, so he prepared these supply depots. So, we haven't quite gotten to the perturbing things that he says, but this one I think is spot on.
Yeah. I think this, I don't know, he obviously found Quan's writings and things like that, so he knew something was going to happen, right?
Yeah, and if Rashek knew that he himself was not the hero of ages, and if he knew that Alendi wasn't the hero of ages, it makes sense that the Lord Ruler would want to pave the way for the hero of ages.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get to some of those theories a little bit later, I think. Vin joined Elend by a shelf. She knew from previous caverns that the food would still be good, much of it processed in one of the Lord Ruler's canneries, and would remain so for years in storage. The amount in this cavern could feed the town above for years. Unfortunately, Vin and Elend had more to worry about than a single town.
Well, yes, you have more to worry about, but also your numbers are dwindling, so...
Yeah, so that, but you've got numbers, but there is a timer, like, eventually it'll run out.
Yeah, and like also you have to ration it from the beginning. You don't know how long all of this is going to go on for. So you're still going to have to really have them on a tight diet.
Leash, yeah.
Leash.
Although it sounds like Breeze is
yeah, he's back to normal.
Eating his fair share.
Mm.
Imagine the effort this must have taken, Elend said, turning over a can of stewed beef in his hand. He would have had to rotate this food every few years, constantly packing and storing new supplies, and he did it for decades without anyone knowing what he was doing. How long does canned food last? Every couple of years? I feel like it would last a bit more than that.
Yeah, longer. And maybe we don't know how well, what kind of canning this is.
True.
Like compared to what ours is, but this made me think of Dachshund, and I was like, Dachshund could pull that off.
Yeah.
That admin,
Yep.
So as much as you're getting perturbed and things like this, it's just like I understand Elend. So like you haven't gotten to the perturbing thing, but the thing is, Elend is admiring something just for the fact that it's efficient and he's accomplished something. It's still an accomplishment. You don't have to, this doesn't make him okay with the rest of the Lord Ruler. It's just, he's just, wow, this is quite a big feat. And he's noticing that because he's thinking, how would I do this? How on earth would I be able to do this? This is very difficult. And that's also part of being a ruler, is looking at how you would do things. And another ruler did this. That's interesting. It's Elend's scholar mind, so I'm already trying to build up a resistance to your worries.
Vin shrugged.
It's not so hard to keep secrets when you're a god emperor with a fanatical priesthood.
Yes, but the effort, the sheer scope of it all. You know what this means?
What?
The Lord Ruler thought it could be beaten. The deepness, the thing that we released. The Lord Ruler thought he could eventually win.
I like that he said we. I like that he
Mhm.
said we. And the Lord Ruler thought we could eventually win. Well, the Lord Ruler thought we could at least try.
He could
Is what I'll
eventually
take.
win. The Lord
Or
Ruler thought
yeah.
he could. So there's a presumption here, and I don't think that's the case, because what I got from his metal sheet later on is that he thinks like he's writing to the hero of ages. I
Yeah,
think.
if he's gone, yeah, like it's like this will happen if he dies.
Yeah.
This wasn't for him. This was for whoever comes after him.
Yeah. And regarding what the Lord Ruler may or may not have known about the future, I am getting the impression that he knew that he wouldn't be around forever.
And he was making precautions for that. And I'm hoping when we get to the last fetch quest, we'll understand.
Yeah. Vin snorted.
It doesn't have to mean that, Elend.
Then why go through all of this? He must have thought that fighting wasn't hopeless.
People struggle, Elend. Even a dying beast will still keep fighting. Will do anything to stay alive.
You have to admit that these caverns are a good sign, though, Ellen said.
Look, he's looking for hope. This is what he's supposed to do, right? Okay?
Yeah, you're right.
Don't get pissed
right.
off. Ellen's like, it's something. You know what? And yes, it is, Ellen. Well done.
Yeah.
You were silly with the spikes and the what this and that, all your silly takes in the beginning of the chapter, but this is good.
Optimism.
A good sign. Yes, optimism and just, okay, well, we've got something at least. Hello? We would be even more screwed if these caverns weren't around. Hello? Like, Vin's just like, no, well, there's still a huge problem, obviously. I understand, but let's be happy with what we've just found.
Yes.
A good sign?
Vin asked quietly, stepping closer.
Elend, I know you're just trying to find hope in all this, but I have trouble seeing good signs anywhere lately. You have to admit now the sun is getting darker, redder. It's even worse down here in the south.
I doubt the sun has changed at all, Ellen said. It must be all the smoke and ash in the air. Do you ever get tired of being wrong, Ellen? Do you ever, not doubt Vin? At this point, I'm annoyed with Ellen.
And you know what? In my book, he says, actually. In my book, he goes, actually, Ellen said, I doubt the sun has changed at all. But I mean, look, yeah, wait, why is he wrong? Why is he wrong, though? I mean, the sun is, there's more ash, yeah.
Yeah.
What do
no,
are you thinking the sun is closer, Dorkus?
No, I just,
Yeah.
I like Vin. I trust Vin's instincts.
She's saying the sun is getting darker. What she means is, yeah, it's something, things are getting worse. It's like, yeah, it's all the smoke and ash in the air. Yes, that means that the ash mounts are erupting even more. That is still a problem. So either way, they're just quibbling about which kind of crap they're in.
Yeah. It must be all the smoke and ash in the air.
Which is another problem. The ash falls almost perpetually now. People are having trouble keeping it out of their streets. It blots out the light, making everything darker. Even if the mists don't kill off next year's crops, the ash will. 2 winters ago, when we fought the Kolos at Lutherdal, was the first I'd seen snow in the central dominance, and this last winter was even worse. These aren't things we can fight, Elend, no matter how big our army.
Okay, so wow. I got, it blots out the light, making everything darker. Even if the mists don't kill off this year's crops, the ash will. Last winter, when we fought the Kolos at Lutherdal, was the first I'd seen snow in the central dominance.
Yeah, this like several times now already, and we're only on chapter 5, where our timing between editions is different. The time that they're doing. Like mine says 2 years ago a lot of the time. I think earlier on yours, I didn't note it because, it would have interrupted you. But when Ellen was talking about years ago or something, it was, yours was like nearly 2 years ago and mine was 2 years ago. So yeah, there's something, and next year's crops and 2 winters ago is quite a lot compared to last winter.
Yeah.
And she even talks about this last winter was even worse. So they've already had another winter. I don't know what's going on with this timey-wimey stuff.
Yeah.
These aren't things we can fight, Elend, no matter how big our army.
What do you expect me to do, Vin? Elend asked, slamming his can of stew down on the shelf. The Kolos are gathering in the outer dominances. If we don't build our defenses, our people won't last long enough to starve.
I'm with you on that, Elend. Like, what do you like? The thing is, Vin's being a woman. Okay, Vin
She's
is just
being...
saying,
She's not looking
yeah,
for solutions. She's just listing
yes.
problems.
Yes, she's listing problems. She's like, listen, this is fine, but we still have these problems over here. We don't. She needs something more, which is kind of what she's looking for. She's like, there's something more here. I need to find another way to fight this big bad, right? I understand
Yeah.
that's her frustration, but then the man, this is so typical. The man is like, what do you want me to do? It's like Vin is just explaining that there is more to this. Okay, we've got more problems to deal with. We've got other things, this is fine, but I myself need to be fighting something more,
Yeah.
and then he's like, what must I do about it? Because that's what you feel like when a woman lists these problems. The immediate man reaction is, okay, but I'm supposed to solve it then. So that's why he gets frustrated. It's like, well, what the hell do you want me to do? I'm doing my best here.
Yeah.
I like this interaction between them because this is what happens just in normal life, and now you're at the end of the world. So,
Yeah. The thing is, like, the optimistic look, the hopeful look, it's not as bad as it seems, isn't the same as looking for the solution. Vin's
yes.
pessimistic, but she's looking for the long-term solution. And Ellen isn't quite doing that in the same way. I mean, they both have their goal of finding the rest of the caches, but... And I think finding the rest of the caches will help them unlock the long-term solution. But
Yeah.
Vin is kind of right in this situation, I think.
She is right. Yeah, she is right. But somebody has to deal with these other quests. Okay,
Yeah.
there's two main quest lines. Okay, so somebody's got to deal with them. And he's like, what do you expect me to do? Must I do everything all at once? So yeah, but they both have points. Yeah, which is
Yeah.
it's fun.
Vin shook her head.
Armies are short term.
She said, sweeping her hand across the cavern.
This is short term. What are we doing here?
We're surviving. Kelsier said...
Kelsier is dead, Elend.
Vin snapped.
Am I the only one who sees the irony in that? We call him the survivor, but he is the one who didn't survive. He let himself become a martyr. He committed suicide. How is that surviving?
Ah, so much to unpack there. He was
Vin?
called the Survivor because he survived the pits of Hathsin, not because he
Yeah.
died to the Lord Ruler.
Yeah. Again, it depends on what Vin's mood is, what she thinks about Kelsier.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not the first time she thought of what he did as unaliving himself. I
Yeah.
think it's a bit more nuanced than that. I can understand her thinking it.
Yeah, he hoped he could live, but he kind of knew chances were slim. So
Yeah.
he sets it up that if he dies, then he becomes a martyr. That's what he set it up to do.
Yeah. She stood for a moment, looking at Elend, breathing deeply. He stared back, apparently undaunted by her outburst.
What am I doing?
Vin thought.
I was just thinking about how much I admired Ellen's hope. Why argue with him now?
They were stretched so thin, both of them. I don't have answers for you, Vin, Ellen said in the dark cavern. I can't begin to understand how to fight something like the Mist. Armies, however, I can deal with. Or at least I'm learning how.
I'm sorry.
Vin said, turning away.
I didn't mean to argue again. It's just so frustrating.
We're making progress. We'll find a way, Vin. We'll survive.
Do you really think we can do it?
Vin asked, turning to look him in the eyes. Yes, Ellen said. And she believed him. He had hope, and always would. That was a big part of why she loved him so much. Come on.
Lovely tie-in.
Yeah.
With earlier on, because Ellen's saying this is what she needs from me, and
Yeah.
but you said come on.
It was... No, that's the next line.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a very sweet moment.
I thought you were gonna say like, well, come on, he's also handsome. Anyway,
No, I was not.
he's buff. Sorry.
Come on, Ellen said, laying a hand on her shoulder. Let's find what we came for. Vin joined him, leaving her Kolos behind, walking into the depths of the cavern as they heard footsteps outside. There was more than one reason they had come to this place. The food and the supplies, of which they passed seemingly endless shelves, were important. However, there was more. A large metal plaque was set in the back wall of the rough-hewn cavern. Vin read the words inscribed on it out loud. Yay, metal sheets!
Mm-hmm. So he definitely knows.
Yep,
This is the last metal I will tell you about.
she read.
I have trouble deciding the purpose of it. It allows you to see the past, in a way, what a person could have been and who they might have become had they made different choices. Much like gold, but for others.
So, quick note there. He has trouble deciding the purpose of it. Suggests he may not have been the one to create allomancy.
Exactly what I was gonna say, because it's like, he doesn't know, but this is it. Like, what, the only other explanation is he made it, but he doesn't really remember what he did with it, or how it works, or whatever. There's some janky forgetfulness that happened. But yeah, I'm thinking he doesn't know, because he didn't create it.
Agreed completely.
He had access to it. Like, it's like some separate magic, and he was able to grant it to people, okay? Because he created a metal that could grant it to people, but I don't think he created it himself. Otherwise, yeah, just forgot.
Yep.
By now the mists have likely come again. Such a foul, hateful thing. Scorn it. Don't go out in it. It seeks to destroy us all. If there is trouble, know that you can control the Kolos and the Kandra by use of several people pushing on their emotions at once. I built this weakness into them. Keep the secret wisely.
Okay, so multiple soothers. Interesting, neat, cool, good to know.
Yeah. So you just need a strong enough push. Yeah, how would that work in terms of the commanding of it? But
Yeah, like
cool,
what
you just
happens
need-
when you get like two opposing crowds of people pushing on the same Kolos?
Yeah, do you have to be? It's the same thing. I would imagine it would be the same as pushing and pulling. You know, so who's stronger? Who's more anchored?
Probably, yeah.
So Breeze can be out there ordering Kolos around. Pretty cool.
Oh, no.
Commander Breeze. Yeah.
Beneath that was listed an allomantic compound of metals, one of which Vin was already familiar. It was the alloy of atium they called malatium, Kelsier's 11th metal. So the Lord Ruler had known about it. He'd simply been as baffled as the rest of them as to its purpose. Also, this answers how we know about Electrum. We suspected
Yes.
from the first cache, but now it's basically confirmed.
Yeah. Very cool explanation there. We need that.
Yeah.
And also just more of this. This is not, why would he have these inscriptions if he was going to do this?
Exactly.
If he was going to do the defeating. This is for whoever defeats him or whoever comes after him.
Exactly, which is why I think he did expect a hero of ages to rise. And I get the sense he might not have expected to be around for it.
Or is this Quan?
Ooh.
Is it not Rashek? Is it Quan who became the Lord Ruler?
Nah, I don't think that's the case anymore. The plaque had been inscribed by the Lord Ruler, or at least he'd ordered it inscribed. Each previous cache had also contained information written in steel. In Urtio, for instance, she had learned about Electrum. In the one to the east, they'd found a description of aluminum, though they'd already known about that metal. Not much new here, Ellen said, sounding disappointed. We already knew about malatium and about controlling Kolos, though I'd never thought to have several soothers push at the same time. That might be helpful.
And look, in my book it says before they'd thought it took a mistborn burning duralumin to get control of Kolos. So there you go.
Good to know, because I was a bit confused on that
Yeah.
front for a bit.
Yeah. And what's it? Just another thing. Does Ellen not comment about the the Kandra as well? But okay,
Yeah, good point,
it doesn't matter.
Vin said, pointing at the other half of the plaque.
We have that.
The other half contained a map, carved into the steel like the ones they had found in the other 3 storage caverns. It depicted the final empire, divided into dominances. Luthadel was a square at the center. An X to the west marked the main thing they'd come looking for, the location of the final
Wow.
cavern.
Mine says an X to the east marked the main thing they'd come looking for, the location of the final cavern.
Wow. What's going on, Ruin,
Yes, see.
with these changes?
hmm I'm on a different journey.
Apparently. There were 5, they thought. They'd found the first one beneath Luthadel near the Well of Ascension. It had given the location of the second to the east. The third had been in Urtio. Vin had been able to sneak into that one, but they hadn't managed to recover the food yet. That one had led them here, to the south. Each map had 2 numbers on it, a 5 and a lower number. Luthadel had been number 1. This one was number 4. Okay?
That's it. Yeah, okay, so it's like one of, or five, like, no, instead of one or five, it's got the big number first, I suppose.
Yeah.
And yeah, we have the explanation. It's like, okay, well, clearly we couldn't find all of these things at once.
Yeah, but we've got the chase now.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Vin said, running her fingers along the carved inscriptions on the plaque.
In the Western Dominance, as you guessed, somewhere near Shardis,
Fadric City, Ellen said.
Set's home.
Convenient. Set's gonna get his home back. Not that it'll matter because it's a misty wasteland.
Set will be, yeah, Set will be happy-ish, I suppose.
Ellen nodded. He knew far more about geography than she.
That's the place then. The one where it is.
Ellen met her eyes and she knew he understood her. The caches had grown progressively larger and more valuable. Each one had a specialized aspect to it as well. The first had contained weapons in addition to its other supplies, while the second had contained large amounts of lumber. As they'd investigated each successive cache, they'd grown more and more excited about what the last one might contain. Something spectacular, surely. Perhaps even it. The Lord Ruler's Atium cache. No chance that has the Atium. I don't believe it.
Yeah, and what is the Atium going to, again, why are we putting so much value into the Atium as if it's going to help us fight things like that?
And who cares about Atium now that you have Electrum? I say that slightly largely. It still has its uses. I'm still on the he used the Atium train. I did wonder if it's a cache of the Mistborn metal that's in there. Which I think is possible.
That would be freaking awesome.
Yeah, everyone becomes a Mistborn. But I have to imagine that something that important would be in Luthadel with him. So I don't know how on board I am with the prediction.
Yeah, I don't know. And yeah, just how is Atium going to help us fight Ruin?
Yep, precisely. It was the most valuable treasure in the final empire. Despite years of searching, nobody had ever located it. Some said it didn't exist, but Vin felt that it had to. Despite 1,000 years of controlling the sole mine that produced the extremely rare metal, he had allowed only a small portion of Atium to enter the economy. Nobody knew what the Lord Ruler had done with the greater portion he had kept to himself for all those centuries. Yeah, mystery is still out there, I think. It's used. Now don't get too excited. We have no proof that we'll find the Atium in that final cavern.
It has to be there. It makes sense. Where else would the Lord Ruler store his Atium?
If I could answer that, we'd have found it. Vin shook her head.
He put it somewhere safe, but somewhere it would eventually be found. He left these maps as clues to his followers, should he somehow be defeated. He didn't want an enemy who captured one of the caverns to be able to find them all instantly.
Yeah, fair. And as I said earlier, this is the story. This is what they're doing in this book.
Yeah.
A trail of clues that led to one last cache. The most important one. It made sense. It had to. Ellens didn't look convinced. He rubbed his bearded chin, studying the reflective plaque in their lantern light. Even if we find it, I don't know that it will help much. What good is money to us now?
It's more than money. It's power. A weapon we can use to fight.
She'd burned up their last bit of atium a year ago, and she'd never gotten used to how exposed she felt without it. Electrum softened that fear somewhat, but not completely.
Oh, wow. Mine says, okay, it doesn't have any of that. And then it's like, fight the mists.
Yeah, that's
So
my next
Ellen
line.
asks, hey, that's your next line. But yeah, I think, so that paragraph makes it sound like Vin really, because it is her POV, Vin is thinking about how exposed she feels without Atium. She's not thinking, oh, there is another use for Atium against the mists or anything like that. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fight the mists? He asked. Vin hesitated.
Perhaps not.
She finally said.
But the Kolos and the other armies, with that Atium, your empire becomes secure. Plus, Atium is part of all this, Elend. It's only valuable because of Allomancy, but Allomancy didn't exist until the Ascension. Did it?
Did
it?
Questionable. Also, mine says it's valuable because of Allomancy, not it's only valuable because of Allomancy. I mean, by nature of it being a rare metal, should be enough to give it some value, not just because of the use.
True.
But yeah. Another unanswered question. Why did that nugget of metal I swallowed make me a Mistborn? Where did it come from? Why was it placed at the Well of Ascension, and by whom? Why was there only one left, and what happened to the others? I bet we're going to get answers to all of those questions in this book. If we don't, I'll be annoyed.
Yeah. Maybe we'll find the answers once we take Fadrix.
Elend nodded. She could tell he considered
Guys, hold on. I am having I've been hurt by Sanderson, okay, in this series, by things just not turning out the way that they're supposed to. So I am feeling like this last cache is going to already have been looted. That's what I'm feeling.
Ooh, I love that prediction. I love it so much. And Obligator is in control in Fadrix, last I checked.
So.
Ooh.
Because they all because they have so much hope. Oh, the answers would be there. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Also, if he is writing these messages to the future Hero of Ages, it's possible that he intended that last metal to be used on the Hero of Ages, to give him the extra power needed to defeat the deepness. Yeah. And again, I don't think it's Elend. I think it's Sazed, but I think everyone's going to think it's Elend. Or Vin. Or maybe Vin's out of the running in everyone's eyes now because of what happened. I don't know. Elend nodded. She could tell he considered the information contained in the caches the most important reason to track them down. Agreed, followed closely by the supplies. To him, the possibility of finding the Atium was relatively unimportant. Good Elend. Vin couldn't explain why she felt he was so wrong in this regard. The Atium was important. She just knew it. Her earlier despair lightened as she looked over the map. They had to get to Fadrix. The answers would be there. You're right, they totally won't be. Taking Fadrix won't be easy. Set's enemies have entrenched themselves solidly there. I hear a former Ministry Obligator is in charge.
The Atium will be worth it.
If it's there. She gave him a flat stare. Oh, and I can totally hear Set saying, "You're telling me I had the Atium the whole time." He held up a hand. I'm merely trying to do what you told me, Vin. I'm trying to be realistic. However, I agree that Fadrix will be worth the effort. Even if the Atium isn't there, we need the supplies in that store. We need to know what the Lord Ruler left us. Voices sounded from the other end of the cavern, and Elend turned. I should go speak to them, he said. We're going to have to organize things in here quickly.
Have you told them yet that we're going to have to move them back to Luthadel?
I read that and thought, smart, and they're going to be pissed. Elend shook his head. They won't like it. They're becoming independent, as I always hoped they would.
It has to be done, Elend. This city is well outside our defensive perimeter. Plus, they can't have more than a few hours of mistless daylight left this far out. Their crops are already doomed. Yeah, so they'll be pissed, but you can argue with them like, what are you staying for?
Yeah.
There's nothing left here.
Yeah. It is safer at Luthadel right now, probably, or at least as safe as can be expected.
Mm.
Elend nodded, but he continued to stare out into the darkness. I come, I seize control of their city, take their treasure, then force them to abandon their homes. From here we go to Fadrix to conquer once more.
Elend.
He held up a hand. I know, Vin. It must be done. He turned, leaving the lantern and walking toward the doorway. As he did, his posture straightened and his face became more firm. Vin turned back to the plaque, rereading the Lord Ruler's words. On a different plaque, much like this one, Sazed had found the words of Quan, the long-dead terraceman who had changed the world by claiming to have found the hero of ages. Quan had left his words as a confession of his errors, warning that some kind of force was working to change the histories and religions of humankind. He'd worried that the force was suborning the Terrace religion in order to cause a hero to come to the north and release it. That was exactly what Vin had done. She'd called herself the hero and had released the enemy, all the while thinking that she was sacrificing her own needs for the good of the world. So, it's good. They had their sit-down with Sazed to share all the notes, the D&D notes from last week.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, this is what had happened, and yeah, she needs to understand that, and also, this adds to that feeling that you said, like, this is the book, we're in the book now. It's like, the music is swelling, kind of thing.
Yeah. And the way this segment works, it makes it wonder if they just don't think there is any hero of ages. Like, I thought it was going to be just Sazed, but it could be that they all think there's none, and it's just nihilism.
Mm-hmm.
She ran her fingers across the large plaque.
We have to do more than just fight wars,
she thought, angry at the Lord Ruler.
If you knew so much, why didn't you leave us more than this? A few maps and scattered halls filled with supplies. A couple paragraphs telling us about metals that are barely of any use. What good is a cave full of food when we have an entire empire to feed?
Vin stopped, her fingers made far more sensitive by the tin she was burning to help her eyesight in the dark cavern, brushed against grooves in the plaque's surface. She knelt, leaning close to find a short inscription carved at the bottom, the letters much smaller than the ones above.
Be careful what you speak. It can hear what you say. It can read what you write. Only your thoughts are safe.
Vin shivered. Oh, yeah, that's scary. That is really scary.
Yeah. It knows where the last cache is now, just by the way.
Yeah.
So I'm this made me think, okay.
I hope this is written on all,
Yeah.
by the way, I hope this is written on all the plaques, because she doesn't call Elend back to look at that. Continue, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also do hope that it's not new information for her, but for us, we now know that the character knows it. This now makes me go, oh my gosh, they really cannot discuss their plans, okay, at all. This is going to lead to that isolation like we had in the last book, where they do their own thing because we can't communicate. And then also just the communication between Akandra and the person controlling them. Is there like some sort of telepathy there? So that could be something that helps strengthen it. Is there some way they can communicate without speaking? That needs to be a way.
Agreed.
There needs to be an advantage at some point. But yeah, only your thoughts are safe is just making me think, yeah, we're in for some isolation and some just doing your own thing.
Yeah. Vin shivered.
Only your thoughts are safe.
What had the Lord Ruler learned in his moments of transcendence? What things had he kept in his mind forever, never writing them down for fear of revealing his knowledge, always expecting that he would eventually be the one who took the power when it came again? Had he perhaps planned to use that power to destroy the thing that Vin had released?
You have doomed yourselves.
The Lord Ruler's last words, spoken right before Vin had thrust the spear through his heart. He'd known, even then, before the mists had started coming during the day, before she'd begun hearing the strange thumpings that led her to the Well of Ascension. Even then she'd worried.
Be careful what you speak. Only your thoughts are safe. I have to figure this out. I have to connect what we have, find the way to defeat or outwit this thing that I've loosed. and I can't talk this over with anyone, or it will know what I'm planning.
Whew.
Very good for Vin. Vin doesn't like talking about things anyway. It's fine.
Yeah.
Secret Vin.
It's going to keep everyone isolated, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not practical to carry around metal sheets and write all your thoughts to each other in that way. Just communicate like that.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, you can turn that around. You can speak
Yes!
fake plans to people.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking as well. They should say like, they should say, oh, you know, like
We're gonna attack to the south tomorrow at dawn,
yeah.
and then they go north.
But then again, if this thing knows, okay, things about the world, it can see what you're doing.
Sure.
Maybe. So it's like, yo, we're gonna
It's worth a
attack
try.
to the. Yeah, it's worth a try. Like that's exactly what the first thing I thought was like. Okay, well then we need to give it false plans, and I'm sure Vin at some point will be doing that
Yeah, agreed.
because she's like that. She's gonna look for tactics, ways to outsmart it. And like you again, like you said, the last few lines there really are like this proper grand introduction to the rest of the book. It's like this is what we're going to do.
Yep.
Really good.
Thanks for joining, Kitty. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next time. Okay, thanks, bye.